So we made this. It's like the coolant pipe that comes out of the block and the head. But
we're not happy with it.
No, it's rubbish. So here it is, all blasted up.
I'm going to chop this bit off here and then weld that bit straight on there.
And get rid of that nasty thing there.
Get rid of that.
Bubble gum.
And then shorten this bit down. So we have a straight coming off the end there where we'll weld that bit onto there at that angle. And that will be straight to the heater core.
And then paint it.
Yeah. Those are the jackets that set on fire.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, I know, I just don't really want to melt my jacket again. I had like a red one of those that lasted, what, like a few days?
No, it was a day.
Yeah, first day I got it, I was ankle grinding something and just burnt a hole in it. So we've sanded down where that fitting was. We'll put a patch over here. We need to chop this off here and here so this comes straight out, and then it's an easier run to the heater fittings. And we've chopped off this big wobbly pipe that was on here, and we've just got that tacked on at the moment with an AN fitting on. That will go to the turbo, and then we'll have another line going from the turbo into the sort of coolant tank lines, or straight into the coolant tank. Got this bit chopped and tacked. Got a patch over here all tacked on, and we've got this bit chopped and tacked. So it all just needs welding up now, and then we can make sure it fits on the car and then work out where we're going to stick the boss for our coolant sensor. Where is that?
Sits flush.
Yep.
And that will go on the pipe in said position, wherever that needs to be.
So we've welded that fitting back on, patched that section up and welded that up, and we've just drilled a hole for our coolant temperature sensor bung, which goes on there like that, and then we'll weld that up and then run a tap back through it just to make sure there's no snags, and then we've got a nice bit for our temperature sensor. Bung's all welded on. Not the tidiest, but it's not terrible. That's to be expected when you've got horrible metal. So run a tap through there and then this is done. Just need to paint it.
So the water feed pipe has been painted and fitted, and as you can see it's much nicer, much more clearance. We've got the temp sensor down there, and that's for the oil filter, the oil cooler, water to oil cooler there, and pipe is up here, and enough space around there to feed it up to the bulkhead fittings that will go to the heat core matrix. All fits up nicely in here, all snug, lovely.
So we're gonna cut this pipe off because we stupidly put this on before we put it in the car, thinking we knew what the angle was. So we chop this off, and we're gonna have a 90 that comes out here, and then our coolant pipe will come out here somewhere, and then we'll have basically a 90 straight down, and then another 90.
And we can weld the 12 AN filler piece onto there.
Oh yeah, that can go on that little piece there, yeah.
So we'll just chop that off and weld on a filler piece, and then we're going to make our filler tank that's going to sit up there, our header tank.
Or over there.
Yeah.
I don't like, it's a bit close to everything there.
It is a bit full there. We might just move over there, so we might just weld that up. No, we need it there for the turbo coolant line.
Not necessarily.
So
you can like do you could
Bluetooth
do a
one.
T-piece off it. So you could have like a line that comes out of there.
Yeah.
Nice. So we've got a radiator off the car. We've chopped off the bottom outlet, and we're gonna have a 90 like that coming off, because that kind of puts it where we want it, and then we'll chop it down and then put a bead on it. And we've chopped this piece off. We were going to use this as a filler, but we're going to put an AN thing in the side now. We've already plugged one of these before. Where's that bit of bar stock?
Here's the actual bar, it's not hot.
Yeah.
So that's
So we've
perfect.
chopped a piece of that, which fits perfectly in there, and then we'll just weld that up.
And that will bang that for now.
Got a nice little slug of aluminium in there. So just weld that up, and then that's that.
Sealed up.
That all sealed up, yeah. And then we've just got to do that piece. That bit came out. Actually,
Yeah.
half of it's okay, half of it's a bit horrible. But
It'll seal.
should do, yeah. I mean, we can pressure test it.
Yeah, we can.
But I'm fairly confident in that. Cool.
Sweet.
So that's those plugged up.
Plugged up.
Ugly plugs. One nice beaded bit of pipe for the radiator inlet, out, oh whatever. And that, it's gonna go on there, something like that,
90.
and then
Perfect.
a couple of 90s up to that pipe there. So that's the radiator piping all finished now. Got that funny twisty bit going in there, and then nice aluminium top hose. Intercooler piping's all in. Nice and simple. Happy days. A little tip when cutting silicone hoses: put a Jubilee clip round it and then tighten it down a bit. And if you've got a bit of pipe the right size to go inside it, put that in as well, and then it makes it much easier to cut around. Given up on doing anything else to this until the engine's out of the car, because it is a pain in the bum.
3 weeks later.
This is the oil return pipe, and as you can see, the 90 that we had off of it just wasn't quite tight enough, so I've got tighter 90, which will allow me to get it closer to the block, and that will get chopped and welded here, and then this pipe will obviously be bent or pointed in the right direction, and then an AN fitting fitted onto some point around here, and then the oil return will be braided lines up until the turbo. So here's the turbo. I've got an extended oil return pipe. Keep this fitting away from most of the heat as best as possible. Clearance is a little tight here, but that should be all right. But it generally keeps everything away. It makes this easier to get on there. And then that oil return will be pointed to the direction that will run underneath the manifold and to the oil return I was just talking about. So here's the mocked up oil return, and I'll probably be pointing that up a bit like that, and I'm hoping that the AN line will run through here neatly, and then up to the bottom of the turbo. So I'll come up here, and then we've got manifolds and everything in the way here, and then it will return up. So oil return welded up. Just need to tack on this bracket here while it's on the car, and then we can take it off and weld that up, and then that's all done. We just need to make a hose that goes from there to the turbo. Woo! Yep. So there's the oil return, held in, clamped in place, and I'll run up there and up to our turbo. Sorted.
Just finishing off the bits of fuel line that go
in the engine bay.
Yep.
So
this is the feed, and it's
very short.
Tiny.
It's a tiny feed.
And we need to completely redo the return because it got a bit chewed up when we put the engine in.
There we go. And follow that.
Whoop.
It's just a little.
There's
the feed here,
yeah.
And then the return is just down here.
Those are the alley fuel lines that I mentioned in the other video that go into the car. And that's the little flexi hose for the feed. And then it goes through here, we've got our regulator, and then it comes out there. Just we're going to make that line now. And then it goes into the return there.
Nice chop there.
Bit better than an angle grinder.
Yeah.
Tape.
Always put a bit of tape on it, stops it flaring out, causing you untold amounts of pain.
Electrical tape apparently is best.
Yeah, as
Of the many.
demonstrated to me by DI Racing originally.
Right, take. Got those two bits. Take that piece. Give it a bit of Vass. Giant tub of Vass. Whack a bit in there.
Just,
Just helps. You want a bit on here as well. Stop it snagging up. Greasy. Now, these are definitely worth getting a pair of if you're making up fittings quite often. If you're not, it's probably not worth it. Just makes life so much easier. Give it a little twist.
make sure it's seated right down into the bottom.
Feels like it is. Let's see.
Have a little check.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
So, don't know if you can see in there.
Yeah, just about.
See, it's right up to where the threads start, or end, depending on how you're looking at it.
Also, it's good to note that if you buy a good quality AN fitting, you'll be able to thread the threaded bit into that fitting at the beginning by hand, and it will bite. Torques are good.
Not that we're not
Not
sponsored or anything. We just buy all their stuff because it's cheap-ish.
Yeah.
It's not mega cheap, but it's cheapish.
It's not like your.
And it's good quality.
Yeah.
And they've got loads of stuff as well, right?
Yeah, you can get pretty much.
Ooh, sorry. Right, and then so this bit's all greased up. This one looks a bit dirty because it's been used. But, basically, whack that in there. Threads in fairly easily to start with.
Now, you can buy these adjustable ones, which are perfectly fine, but we bought some of the spanners. Just makes life easier.
Just do it up.
And you want to use the aluminium spanners on these preferably, because then you save any kind of marking or ruining the look of your lovely fittings. That by the time you've done a whole car, you've probably spent a small fortune on fittings alone.
I think we've got about 250 quid's worth of fittings just in our fuel system.
Yeah. And some more coming.
Yeah, that one's not needed though.
No, it's more of a luxury.
But
and also,
I'll show you that when
we fit it.
There we go. Okay.
And there we go. Got our return hose and our feed hose all fitted up. It's all lovely.
This is our fuel pressure sensor, which goes to our Arduino dash, which we will show you at some point. We've got a proper mechanical gauge as well, just in case, and it makes it easier to adjust stuff under the bonnet as well.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just mounting that throttle cable. It's going to be an interesting one, but we've got 2 mounting points there.
Yeah.
We'll be able to make something up from there.
That'll be fine.
Nice big steel bracket.
Put a big dimple in it.
Mm-hmm.
Make it strong. Yeah, we're getting there now.
Yeah.
Getting there. Nearly done with the fabrication stuff, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.